Tom DeSimio comes from Lumina. So it comes from the company who developed the first lamps and who basically bring this idea. And to me, is the company who transformed the interventional US that was something, who knows, in a real specialty. And Tom, as a chief, not medical, but chief of the training of Lumina, started from Europe. So he was coming 2 weeks a month, going through 40 centers. And after Europe, he trained any endosonographer in the world. So I would say his name is Lens or Axios. In this case, I have to say Axios. Do you remember the first time? Where did you do the first hot Axios?
The first hot Axios was actually right here in Gemelli Hospital with you.
Yeah.
It was a very exciting time. And I want to say thank you for that wonderful introduction, Alberto. It has been my distinct pleasure to have the opportunity to work with not only you, but many other endosonographers around the world. The reality is that the vision of Ken Binmoller, one of my great mentors and my privilege to have worked with for many years, his imagination and creativity led to the development of this lumen-opposing metal stent, the ability to utilize endoscopic ultrasound in real time to reach out beyond the lumen, therefore the name Lumina, and touch and interact with and deliver therapy to various organs that surround the GI space, which are many. And the reality is that from the development of the FNA needle in the early 1990s until the arrival of Axios, industry brought no tools to the advantage or benefit of the interventional endosonographer. So there was a very long doldrum where no development took place. And Dr. Binmoller, as a pioneer of endoscopic ultrasound, is looking at the gallbladder. And just because the gallbladder is not behaving today doesn't mean that you need to throw it out. And he did not think that this was necessarily the first line of treatment or therapy for the patient. So the opportunity to deliver treatment to a gallbladder instead of surgical removal was of great interest to him. And he founded a company, developed the product. Again, I was very fortunate to be working with Dr. Binmoller as his lead nurse in San Francisco. And I would go with him to the development, the animal labs, and support his work. And I've had the ability to watch as this technology has grown and recognize the great potential to deliver accurately and reliably this lumen-opposing stent to create an anastomosis. What previously could only be done surgically, now in the hands of a skilled endosonographer, we've converted a surgical procedure into a sub 5-minute intervention.
But we are skilled because of you, no?
Well, you're very generous.
No, but it's, I remember he came here, the first, when we still have the cold Axios, needle, guide wire, but in his mind, he's already had the hot Axios that you can use without anything, no? And actually, I remember very well the first case in the world that was done here, me and him in front of this ball, background fluid collection, and Sir Rampona, he said, okay, I need a guide wire. I said, Tom, why do you need this? I said, let's go. But the company, safety, okay. Come on.
I was getting direction from the CEO of the company to not do anything risky. Make sure we have success. And with the cold Axios, the predecessor to the hot Axios, it was required to make a previous puncture, place a guide wire, and do a dilation of the tract. And then Dr. Binmoller was so adamant about making a cautery equipped access device that the truth is, with the leading edge of the catheter having a microfilament, the surface area of the electrode is so small, the current density is great. The operator's ability to advance the catheter very smoothly, under control with direct visualization. Ideally, as you're advancing the catheter, your anatomy will remain static, and you'll pass the catheter. The catheter is the only thing that's moving on the echo screen. In fact, if you're advancing the catheter and your anatomy is pushing away, you should stop the delivery of cautery and troubleshoot the system, because this catheter will pass like a hot needle in butter, not a hot knife, like a hot needle in butter. So everything should be done elegantly. Again, I use the words of Dr. Binmoller. Nothing thrashing about, always nice and smooth with direct visualization.
But that day we I convinced him to transform something, for me it was normal. No? You have a cutter, you can get inside, you have a 15-centimeter ball. What's the deal? We already know how to use the cold Axios. So at the end, I convinced him to do the procedure without the needle, without guide wire.
And it was a thing of beauty. It was truly a thing of beauty. I watched very satisfied and very amazed as you decrease the time with exchanges of the needle and the wire, and then you put the device. I honestly have to say at this point, I believe that the utilization of a needle stick and a guide wire for the performance of an Axios should be discouraged in almost every scenario. Only, I think, in the smallest of bile duct cases would there be an advantage of the needle stick guide wire, and even that is controversial. So the problem, I think, is that once you've placed the needle in the guide wire, you're married to that position. You can't separate from it.
I agree.
So I think it takes away a little bit of your ability to modify and adjust at the moment before puncture. Of course, the catheter, at 3 millimeters or 3.6 millimeters, it can change your scope dip position slightly as you advance.
It's also a cultural thing. Sort of, I'm not a ERCP. So basically, when he arrived, so when the hot Axios arrived, I embraced completely the procedure, and I started doing everything in my room without fluoroscopy. While I think who does ERCP is used to contrast injection guide wire. That is not wrong, because I'm not saying that is wrong. It's just, I think, something different. So I got used to do a bile duct like this, and that, to me today, if I didn't have this problem with the release and so on, it would take 3 minutes.
Right.
So I would never use contrast needle guide wire. So the guide wire maybe you can put inside the device just in case you need during the procedure. And if you need a guide wire, you don't even need the fluoroscopy for that, because you can follow up. You don't need to know the anatomy of the intrahepatics and so on. So
your point about the technician from India being skilled with guide wire manipulation, you're exactly right. I couldn't agree with you more. if you feel like a guide wire might be valuable, preload it into the Axios delivery system, have it close to the tip of your catheter. You make your puncture, then you can run your guide wire, and the assistant or the operator advancing the wire, you can feel if there's obstruction. And you can see the wire on ultrasound image exiting the tip of your catheter and traveling inside your anatomy. You bring up another good point that I don't want to let escape from us. The utilization of fluoroscopy in an Axios procedure is of minimal benefit, in my opinion. The ability of the endosonographer to trust what you see on the echo screen, I think, is a large advantage over the two-dimensional image that we get from fluoroscopy. I have had the luxury of assisting in maybe 1,600 or 1,700 Axios procedures around the world, and most of the failures that I see is when an operator will abandon their reliance on the echo image in favor of the fluoroscopic image, and it's misleading. Again, my observation, the operator will trust, or they'll believe what they want to believe on the fluoro image at the expense of what they can see conclusively on the echo view. And I think for this reason, we need to really be confident on the ultrasound image and rely on it as your primary imaging source.
So now we have more devices, more lamps. That I think the industry understood the importance of this accessory. What do you think about where we are and where we're going to do, where we're going with the lamp?
Well, having demonstrated the efficacy and the efficiency of endoscopic guided anastomosis creation is definitely accepted around the world, and it comes as no surprise that there would be other entrants into this space because of the huge benefit to the patient. So it's very rewarding to me to see how operators around the world have gotten creative with their application of the lumen opposing stent, using it for focal strictures, drainages of many things, creating the edge procedure from Michelle Cahala for connecting the remnant stomach. Drainage of abscess throughout the body. Todd Barron has been very creative in some of his placements. I should probably leave that one alone. But
you can find one day your wife is going to have something.
But the reality is, as part of industry, we need to listen to the operators. When you come to us with a concept of, hey, I've been using your product, it works great the way you have asked us to use it. What about this? And then as industry, we get an opportunity to look at
I think there's still improvement to be done, and maybe build up certain specific for that indications, because this is what if you think about the biliary stent now. And you look 30 years ago when this business started, basically they were a piece of for the museum,
Yeah.
So this now the lamps are not the pieces for the museum, but maybe in 20 years probably we'll have something completely different,
Time will tell. I'll stick around and see. But at the moment, we are working on various different geometries for different applications, and we will proceed deliberately and cautiously and do our diligence and make sure that we perform in a safe and effective manner. But it is creative operators like you who have the intuitive vision to say, this makes sense, and I'm going to do it. We don't have data yet, but if you just look at what's obvious, I don't need the data.
Yeah, I think this is obvious, no? So, the fact that you can do certain things, it's like I started doing a gastrojejunectomy here. I didn't do my first gastrojejunectomy here. I did in another place because here I was going around and saying, we have this procedure, and people were looking at me as I was completely crazy, and then I have a gastrojejunectomy every week. Because they start understanding that for the patients on long term, or if they're not really dying, it can be very, very better than the duodenal stents, and I wouldn't even talk about surgery. So it takes time. I will show you later on a procedure which is called elective gallbladder treatment. I will explain you, because I think we need to extend the indication, not like crazy, but for certain reason. But I think we need to extend the indication, and this will help us out to build up a really interventional US based section in the hospital, for example, because I think it's very important to spare people from unnecessary surgery.
Well, and the truth is that as a ultra minimally invasive therapy, the endoscopic guided anastomosis creation has so much potential. You bring up the gastroenteric anastomosis, gastrojejunectomy. The science right now, the research is demonstrating that the creation of this connection from the stomach to the small bowel, where we are able to pass macronutrients beyond the duodenum, has incredible metabolic and endocrine response for type 2 diabetes, obesity, and even fatty liver. So the future is bright. There's many opportunities, and I'm happy to stick around and see where this is going to go.
Yeah, you should not go on pension. No? So we are 1 minute. I think I will use to close up. So. I'm very happy, really, that you're here. I remember the long nights, evening and nights discussing with the computer, doing the video that we spent together during the period. I think you really gave me in the brain the concept of fluoroless US. That means that is what I've done before. That for me really saved me from not having access to the fluoroscopy room. So I hope you're going to stay around. And stay with us the next 2 days, that we will have some fun, because we haven't seen each other for at least 3 years.
It's been too long, my brother. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The hot Axios stent and delivery system is a precision device that creates a durable anastomosis between the GI tract and a target structure using the Axios stent. Hot Axios is used under combined endoscopic and EUS guidance. Its electrocautery-enhanced delivery system is designed to facilitate smooth, efficient access into the target structure without the need for prior dilation. The specially designed handle allows the interventional endoscopist to accurately deliver the Axios stent while maintaining control of the echo endoscope. The monopolar plug on the top of the handle provides a connection with the electrosurgical generator. Numbered arrows on the handle correspond with the steps of the deployment procedure. The catheter has a hydrophilic coating to reduce friction. The black catheter shaft marker indicates proper positioning of the Axios stent during deployment. Radiopaque markers aid with fluoroscopic positioning of the catheter. The small diameter wire on the ceramic tip of the catheter creates a high current density that allows for an efficient cut. The Axios stent is available in 2 sizes, 10mm by 10mm and 10mm by 15mm. The stent length is measured between the 2 stent flanges. The Axios stent has a large lumen diameter designed to optimize drainage. Its dual flange design prevents migration and maintains tissue apposition. The Axios stent is fully covered to prevent leakage of fluid, resist tissue ingrowth, and enable ease of removal.